warned that a digital ID is the end of democracy as we know it and an irreversible step into a dystopian future of firstly no cash, just a digital currency controlled by governments, potentially leading to a Chinese-style social credit system where government has the ability to control and restrict every single aspect of your lives, from where you go, how you travel, your healthcare, what you eat, control over your spending habits, a veto over your job prospects, and so on. On your screen is the World Economic Forum's graph on how a digital ID is central to controlling every part of an individual's life. Financial services, food and sustainability, travel and mobility, e-commerce, social media and telecommunications, it's all there. And of course, every aspect of your healthcare. Digital ID schemes potentially give absolute powers of surveillance and control over every aspect of your life to unelected bureaucrats, unscrupulous politicians and greedy governments and corporations.
You go to China, they're piloting it a few years ago in Shenzhen. So I lived overseas. If you go to Shenzhen, back in 2017, they already had facial recognition cameras there. So if you jaywalked in Shenzhen, they would immediately detect that and send you a notification, and they would deduct money from your what they call WeChat account. They use two main apps, WeChat and Alipay. So you can actually deduct your money directly from your account. This is 4 years ago, so this is not like some sort of conspiracy theory. It's not something that's going to happen 10 years into the future. This happened pre-corona in China. And so this system in China that exists is extremely advanced. They can detect if it's a man or a woman. They can guess your age. They can detect what kind of car model it is, who the manufacturer is. This is a sort of technology that we see in all these dystopian sort of films and whatever. And people keep putting it off and thinking that this is something that's going to happen later in my kid's lifetime or my grandkids. It's already here.
How does it work in China?
Well, in China, we all have digital ID. If you want to access anything in China, you need your digital ID. So if you want to open a bank account, you have to use a digital ID. If you want to use any e-payments, you have to use digital ID. If you want to use a phone, you have to use digital ID. Okay, so everyone's part of this national database, and then what this allows government to do is basically monitor everything you do, because basically, depending on how you buy things, I can then extrapolate to figure out your behavior. And then I can figure out your thinking, right? And then I can create incentives in order to guide and control your behavior.
So in China, can they see everything that you do?
Yes, they can.
Messages you send?
Everything.
Payments you make?
Everything. Everything. Everything you do online is being recorded and it's being inputted into the database to figure out who you are, what you want.
Ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID. Ministers will also proceed with the introduction of digital ID.
Move over to the headlines, because in September of 2025, Keir Starmer, who is their prime minister, announced a mandatory digital ID if you wanted to work in the UK. This pissed everybody off in the UK, like really pissed them off. And by January of 2026, nearly 3 million people had signed a petition, which is like the third or fourth largest petition that's ever been signed in the UK. And because of the vocality of the British and the Irish people, the government had folded. They did a 180 and they said that they were going to walk the digital ID back. Starmer said that the government's digital ID and the app that you have to keep on your phone will now be optional. However, the digital verification in order for you to work is still mandatory. They're just going to have you use private companies instead of going through the government directly. Companies like Yoti and iProve and Post Office Easy ID. But here's what nobody's explaining. When those companies verify you, they have to query a government database. Now, your right to work check will go through the Home Office system. Your driver's license gets verified by DVLA records. And who do you think runs the Home Office system? Well, as of October of 2025, Oracle does. They signed a $72 million cloud computing contract. DVLA also runs on Oracle's infrastructure. In fact, they were just awarded a pretty significant contract for Oracle Premier Support in March of 2025, valued to be around £2.8 million. Or how about your NHS patient records? There's no way Oracle has their paws on that, right? Right? Of course, it also still runs on Oracle's infrastructure. It's just through a different company called Cerner, which they did acquire in 2022 for £28 billion. That's right. You can't escape it. Oracle is at the center of everything. Oracle, I'm pretty sure, is running the world. So the choice you're getting is which app you want to open, not which company is processing your data. The surveillance state didn't stop at the gates. It just gave you a choice of which front door you want to open to the same building. And Oracle built the building.
One of the things that a lot of people want to forget is that Donald Trump was the guy who passed the Real ID Modernization Act, which brought biometric data into the digital ID, the Real ID thing. I'm going to get to that in a second. But let's talk about this. This is the World Economic Forum, and this is them telling us how, because they used COVID to destroy everything. Right? They destroyed lives. They destroyed families. They killed people. They created absolute chaos. And with it, they started pushing digital everything. Why? Because it's a control mechanism. They want to track and trace you. They want CBDC, central bank digital currencies. They want all these things so that they can control you. Here's the problem. These things are happening around the world right now.
It's starting to happen right now in Mexico. Access to your phone number is now tied to government identity systems that are moving towards biometric verification. This is no longer future. This is set in motion. Mexico has just passed a policy that requires every single phone number, prepaid, postpaid, eSIM, all of it to be linked to biometric ID. And when I say biometric, I'm talking about your face, your fingerprints, your eye scan, your digital signature. This is a system tied to something called the CURP, which is basically becoming a full digital identity profile for every single person. And when this comes to America, that means that your phone, the thing that you use for banking and logging into apps, communication is only going to work if your identity is verified and approved. And if you don't register for this, your phone is going to get shut off.
Where everybody has an RFID chip implanted in them, all money is to be in those chips, right? There'll be no more cash. And this is giving me straight from Rockefeller himself. This is what they want to accomplish. And all money will be in your chips. And so instead of having cash, anytime you have money in your chip, they can take out whatever they want to take out whenever they want to. If they say you owe us this much money in taxes, they just deduct it out of your chip digitally.
Total control.
Total control. And if you're like me or you, and you're protesting what they're doing, they can just turn off your chip. And you have nothing. You can't buy food. You can't do anything. It's total control of the people.
And that chip's connected to a database that has your purchasing records, what you do, what
everything.
you sell.
Everything is in there, And so they want a one world government controlled by them.
Hey, Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechak, That's all praises to the Heavenly Father through the name of the only begotten Son, through the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders, great millstone, for teaching us the 100% truth according to the Bible and to rule well. Shalom to all you Akim and you Aquat, those that are hopeful elected are seeking for salvation. It's going to be a super quick video. You saw the intro. Digital IDs globally is being implemented. And obviously, they're making strides here in America. Along with digital ID implementation, you're going to see more AI surveillance set up in your local area. You're going to see, just a lot more things turn digital. Okay, less, transactions being used with paper dollars, and all this leads to what? A mandated mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip. Now, I typed in, what is a digital ID? It says a digital ID is an electronic equivalent of physical identification documents, like a driver's license or passport, used to securely verify who you are online or in person. Put my phone on Do Not Disturb. It says it functions by securely linking your personal information, credentials, and biometrics to an electronic format. Driver's license authentication, right? Such as devices security, face ID, fingerprint, PIN. Digital IDs can be used to travel, through TSA checkpoints, So these digital IDs can be used, all right, for various things. Okay, from Apple Wallet, Google Wallet, state and country apps, all right, various things. Now, I also put in top 20 countries that use digital IDs the most. Okay, you have Estonia. All right, it says, widely regarded as the global leader in digital governance, over 99% of citizens processes an EID using it for daily activities, including voting, filling prescriptions, and filing taxes. And you got Sweden, which we know Sweden is one of those hubs where a majority of the population, or a great number of people in the population, I should say, took or have the MOTB already. Right? You got Singapore, India, Netherlands, the list goes on. And you know you're going to see China on there. But you see France, Italy, United Arab Emirates, Brazil, Belgium. Yep, China's number 16, Poland, Spain, Portugal, and Vietnam, which I thought China would be a little higher. But there we go. So this global implementation of digital IDs is going to become more aggressive, right? From the east to the west. We're seeing, great strides take place. Okay, there's a aggressive push towards a new world order, and these things have to be implemented before they actually usher in the new form of currency. They want to link IDs, profiles, all your information to this device, and also have surveillances set up. And I watched a video, or actually posted a video of one of those women going into details of what AI really is used for. It's best used for, AI surveillances, not for business and all. I mean, people use it for business, but it's really set up for AI surveillance. The algorithm capability that it has, to surveil a large population. Now, 2 Thessalonians 9:1 says, this is Ezra speaking. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing partial revealing of prophecies come to pass. Digital IDs is a part of, was going to be a part of these, the MOTB. All right. And this is not by accident. These devils want control as one of the main words that you saw in the post-production of the various videos. They want full control, and they're not just going to have people walk around with the MOTB without their profile on it or in it. And so this is something that we measure to know how close we are, to the hour of temptation in which they're going to require and mandate the masses to take the mark of the beast. Do not take the mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip. You have been warned. Now, verse 2 says, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. So why do you think we keep saying Yahushua is getting ready to return soon? Because the mark of the beast is so close. We know it's so close, based off of measuring the times. The apostles say, we're analyzing things. We're in the time of analyzing. We see that there's a global shift taking place towards more digital things, and it's not by accident. Reading on, verse 3 says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, in which we've been seeing these signs for a long time now. Earthquakes is at an all-time high. You can Google it if you don't believe me. Uproars of the people in the world. It's been great number of uproars of the people in the world. There's a tracker on that as well. People are rioting and protesting because they don't want to take these digital IDs over in Europe. Because at first they were told it was going to be voluntarily. Then they were told it's mandatory. Mexico already has it. Okay, but people are uproaring. They're rioting and protesting because of, they know they're starting to catch on that the government is taking away their so-called freedom. And, people are uproaring because of, the corruption that's taking place. They feel like their rights is being taken away, etc. Gas prices as high as hell, and the leadership is to blame. So all this is clear signs that we are in the end of Esau, the so-called self-proclaimed white man's rulership. Verse 4 says, then shalt thou well understand. So if you're measuring the times, you should have a clear indication and understand, the Lord is dealing with you, that we are clearly in this man into his wicked rulership. And the everlasting kingdom, which is promised to us, the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, is going to be ushered in very soon. It says, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spoke of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. And the Lord speaks through prophets. That's why you see the prophets raised up in these times. Hebrews 1:1 and down to verse 2. Verse 5, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. So the end of a rulership is going to be made known. There's going to be great signs, tall tale signs. There's going to be prophecies that come to pass. And all these things are going to reveal that the Lord is taking down the kingdom. So we're seeing it right before our eyes. Okay. Last but not least, Ezekiel 2:5 says, and they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. So when it's all said and done and they mandate the MOTB, which is the RFID chip, these people are going to lose it. And these people are going to say, the prophets was telling us that this would take place. The men of Great Millstone and the like-minded camps would say this would take place. And here we are. And a lot of people are going to be scrambling. They're going to be panicking. They're going to lose their mind. Even a lot of those who know that they're Israelites, who use this truth as a form of entertainment, man worship. You got a lot of these people who worship in Bishop Nathaniel like he's some type of, God or something. They're all going to know that there was a prophet among them. And if they didn't take heed, it's going to be too late. The doors of mercy is getting ready to close very, very soon. You can feel it. All right. It's not going to be too long before they mandate the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. Because all of these digital IDs are being set up in various countries and here in America as well. AI surveillance systems, social crediting system, 15-minute cities. We're so far into this thing now. So you could only imagine how a few months may look from now based off of how aggressive this devil's moving. And the Lord said he's going to speed up time for the elect's sake. Lord willing, we're part of that number. So we don't have much time. But the world's going to know, that there was a prophet among them. Repent to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, before it's too late. All praises to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.